Okay, so it's 2:55 on the 7th, which is Sunday. It's like I gotta think it through, even though I just did yesterday. It's like, what is it? Yeah, it's Sunday, the 7th, which I checked my account a couple times. I was hopeful, but, I wasn't thinking like, oh, well, we'll definitely get the money. It's like every time that they start putting that out there, oh, we're going to send out this money, then it's always like, oh, I hope so. But, and here we go. It's just like, I don't know. It's like to try and keep, it seems like they just want to keep talking about it and talking about it, trying to bring attention to it so that all these certain people start seeing. But it's like, well, then do something. Like, how is that supposed to make anybody see, like, oh, this could be a good thing? When it's just talked about and talked about and talked about. Well, do something, make it a good thing. Like, God damn. So, anyways, but maybe, I'll get done with this and then the money will be on my account. I'll be excited. I know the first thing I do is go to the grocery store. But, anyways, it's just, it's my hair right out of my freaking head, right in my mouth. So, okay, let me that. I just saw something on TikTok. It just weirded me out. Two things that just weirded me out. But one thing is that another big earthquake over by Alaska. And there's things that's like a 7 or a 6.9. They're always adjusting the numbers. Even after that big one the other day somewhere, then they said, oh, it was in Nevada, I think. And then they said, oh, it didn't even happen. It's like, I don't know. Everything is just so wacky. It's like, what are they just trying to fool us? Are they trying to keep us from not being hysterical? Like, I'm not really sure what is going on, really. I mean, we live in a world with liars. They're trying to trick us and suck. But you'd think that they'd want to build up on all of this stuff, but maybe that's the tension that they're trying to build to stress us out, because they're feeding off of that energy. Because they feed off of the energy, so you'd think they would be enjoying, every time they stress us out. But it could be the bigger stress is that we stress over, why are they lying to us? Why are they lying to us? Instead of them just saying, hey, there was another big old earthquake. And then we're just like, oh, okay, big deal for Alaska. Sorry about your problems. Then they, but it backfires because then, I gotta get my water. Hold on. Is it backfires because then it's like, well, we do talk about it. Oh my God, my own hair is attacking my mouth. Because then we do talk about, like, oh, well, there's this going, there's that going, because a lot more people, when I very first started talking about the changes on the planet, the earthquakes, the changes with the water and stuff, there was hardly anybody talking about it. So now there's tons of people talking about it. So more and more people are waking up to, we're at a time of change. There's a big change that's going to happen to the landscape. And, damn, my throat is scratchy all of a sudden. That is so weird. So, I don't know. Maybe I just haven't been talking, and now talking is doing it. I don't know. I mean, when the dogs start having runny eyes and runny noses and stuff, and you see the stuff in the sky, no, I'm fucking stop. And I guess San Francisco has started a lawsuit too on the, I think it's against the food products, and all the poison. Which I don't remember if I said this the other day. I think I did. I already say about the rice thing. I'm ordering that rice, that Indian rice. It's at Sam's Club. I could go look around Costco and see if I could find it, because I'm gonna go next week and get some more kombucha, which I'm just like, man, fuck. This corporate fucking shit. But it's Costco. I they're very corporate owned. Like I think they're I don't know. I think it's very similar to Walmart. I mean, when it's even coming out of Trader Joe's, so it's like any place that you think, oh, you're getting good stuff. No, they all are sellouts. They're all paid for. They're all just different names under the same rock that's black. And so, anyways, the rice. Oh yeah, because the one guy who was going through and looking at all those rice, and he went to go get this. He's Indian, and from India, and so he wanted to get the rice from India, but the price had gone up so much. It just keeps going up, going up, going up, that he started looking at the other ones, trying to see like, well, maybe I should try a different rice, because let's see what, checking the prices and stuff like that. And but that's when he started looking at the ingredients, and the only rice that was just rice was from India. The other rices all had multiple ingredients that were additives and stuff. So I got all this Soylent Green stuff going on in my mind right now. That's weird shit going at the mortuaries and stuff. Which there's also whistleblowers coming out that are saying that that not all bodies are the same. Like there is other beings or something. There's way more to this fucking story going on here than what people know. So one guy was saying that at 1200 degrees they couldn't get this one body to burn. And there's some that work in morgues and stuff coming out and saying, there's a really creepy thing I saw too, and at the crematorium, but there's a lot of shit on the crematorium. That's weird as shit. For one thing, they get so many bodies stacked up, they just put a whole bunch in at once and just divide this stuff out. But there's also people who show signs of life, and they just are like, meh, just stick them in there and cook them. And they said it's really creepy too, because you hear screams and all sorts of stuff. So, I don't know. This fucking place, man. You'd think too, why are they in such a rush to toast them? Because there's so much more money in the dismantling or parting them out. And then you just feed you sell the carcass over there to meat distribution centers. So, I don't know. I mean, everything is just wacky. So fucking wacky. But everything is so corrupt. And that's what was getting me this morning. Like this first video I saw that was like, what? What is it? Why does it sound like you're bragging, dude? This lawyer and his, I don't know. I've seen him pop up a few times, and I don't know that I've listened to his whole thing or something, but today I was listening to his thing. I think I've listened to him a couple times, because there was another one too I think I'd listened to, but this one was just like, what? This just seems like, God, you have no, and you're bragging about this? Because what else, what are you saying all this about? But so he's talking about his client, and she signed a prenup, but she intentionally signed it with her left hand, so that if she ever decided to divorce him, that she could say that's not her signature. So you're going into a marriage, and you are, like, if you don't want to sign this thing, then why are you even doing it? Why are you agreeing to this kind of relationship? You know, what, I mean, it just is so weird right there to me. Like, so, okay, I'll sign your paper. I'll marry you, but I'm going to trick you. And, it just is like, whoa, why would you, like, if you were going out with somebody who was that way, why wouldn't you just say, hey, you know, this isn't, you know, our relationship isn't balanced. There's something out. There's something off. You know. But these people like are desperate to hold on. You know, desperate for this lifestyle. Just desperate. I don't know. It's like I'm gonna sell my soul, and I'm gonna go into it tricking you, and that is such a lack of integrity. I just don't like. Where's your moral consciousness? So she signs it with her left hand. And so then she's getting divorced. She wants the money. And I don't know what led to their divorce. He didn't say that. I don't know if the guy was cheating, if the guy was beating her. I have no idea. But she was already pre-planned it. You know, she already had this plan ahead of time. And it's like the lawyer was telling this with pride. Like, he's so proud. It's like, this is so freaking, like, all you're doing is saying, you know, how unethical you are. And so, anyways, so she signs it with her left hand, and then they go to court, and she says, that's not my signature. And they're like, so the husband's lawyer's like, well, we'll get a handwriting specialist. Like, what in the world, lady? Because the husband knows she signed it. And so she they bring in a handwriting specialist, and her signatures, of course, don't match because she signed it with her left hand. And then she, so then they're like, okay, I don't know what the bullshit's going on with this, but we're going to bring in the notary and bring her. Well, the notary just happened to be her best friend from college, who was also had no ethics. And so she said, no, she didn't sign that. I don't know who signed that. So then they got their payout and went to Turks and Caicos and partied for 3 days or some bullshit. It's like, you're saying this, you're broadcasting this, and it is, I think it's kind of like shameful. Like, oh my God. So you went into this relationship with this guy, this rich guy, which obviously, you know, he's got trust issues. I mean, the whole thing. And so you're going into this relationship where it's out of balance. He doesn't want you to screw him over. So he says, hey, you know, sign this paper. You're going in figuring out how to screw him over from the start. So you screw him over and get your money and then just go party. It's just, I mean, I would think the notary would lose her abilities to notarize. And so, paying her out, like, is so schemy and so scammy and such a lack of integrity. And I just could not believe this attorney. And he said, look, so saying, and I was the first person to comment on it. I'm kind of curious to see what other people say, if I even see, but it's like, what in the world with this world? You know, is all these other people going to go in? Good for her. Yay. Good. Got it. The rich guy. Like, screw them. You know, it's like, I don't know. To me, you got to live with a moral consciousness. You got to live, like, with a moral aptitude. You know, what's right and what's wrong. And if you're screwing people over, probably not a good idea. It's probably in the bigger scheme of things, where things go and come back to you, that would not be the direction to go. It's just like so many people here think, well, if you can get away with it, then it must be okay. Yeah, well, you're in the fucking dark. You're in the low vibration. It's not a high vibration place. You want to stay in the low vibration, then keep playing low vibration games and stay in the low vibration. Like, obviously, you don't have compassion or empathy for this person, and it was their money. Like, and so you think you can just go in and take their money, and then scheme and scam to do it, and then just go and be wasteful about it? I don't know. It just did not set right with me. It really is like, ugh. Then this next video I saw I'm just like, man, our world is just so, it just sells itself so short. In this video, this girl's pissed. This is, so this is a story time. She's going to tell us the story time of this. So she's 35 years old. And of course she's sexually active. I mean, you know, she's got to go out and have sex with people. It doesn't matter, you know, if you know them or you don't know them. You just got to go have sex. You're 35. It's like, I remember being younger and thinking different. But it was also not during this period of time of the awakening where things, I don't know, some of these things, it's like, how is this, don't you feel the change? Don't you feel the current? It's like, man, how disconnected are you? How wrapped up in this world are you, man? So she's 35, she's got to have sex with strangers. And so she is on Bumble. I don't know, Bumble, Tinder was just mostly a hookup thing, I think. And then, so Bumble must be the same kind of thing. Just like a hookup, you know, like, let's get together. Grindr. But that's a gay one. And that's the one that's always in the, you know, I don't know, there's so much, people are always looking, oh, let's see how many gay people are around right now. So anyways, because they did that at the Charlie thing, but, and then they think, oh, well, all these conservative guys, look, they're all gay. How do you know there's just not a lot of gay people who supported Charlie Kirk? I mean, could be that option. So, anyways, this world, sometimes it's like, it just blows me away. It's just like, God, no wonder this place is kind of uncomfortable. So this, so she goes out with so she tells more to the story, like, you know, they were taught, they had messaged or whatever, they met, they mutually attracted to each other or something. And so he's asking her if she wants to meet up, and she didn't answer right away. So he starts, you know, saying things, being funny, she said, like banter. Like, so then she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I was at exercise class. Yeah, let's hook up, let's meet up. Let's go meet for drinks. And so she gets all fixed up. She looks real great. Goes down, meets for drinks. Neither of them are big drinkers. So about 2 drinks in, then, you know, they're done with the drinking thing. And and while they're talking, she finds out he's staying at this really nice hotel. And he lives somewhere else. He just comes in on business. And so, and this is his last night there. So they go, so she says that she's, you know, why don't we go to your hotel and make out? And she said, so of course making out led to, she said they did it for hours. And then, she said it was just the greatest, you know, she really liked him. They had a great conversation. They had a lot in common, whatever. And so then they had sex all night. So she ended up spending the night. So she leaves at 5 o'clock in the morning, and she's getting a parking ticket. And so when they left, they were like, okay, well, he's like, I'll be back in 3 weeks. We'll get together again. And she's like, oh, great. And I'll talk to you on Bumble, I guess. And I don't know if they switched numbers. I think they said something about, well, I'll message you my number on Bumble or something. And then, so she leaves, goes, gets her ticket, gets ready for work, goes to work. And once she gets there, she sees he has unmatched her. And so now she's freaked. Like, what the hell? Why would you unmatch me? And so she's pissed. And so she said, and we had a conversation about ghosting. And so then she decides to stalk him and find him. And so she Googles him, finds his LinkedIn, and then she starts messaging him on LinkedIn. And But no, I think because somehow she gets him on Venmo. And that's where she's doing all this messaging. But she found him on LinkedIn, I think. I don't know. Somehow, though, their messages went over to Venmo because she said, I got a ticket at your hotel. And so he was going to pay it. So then on Venmo, then she starts conversing with them. It's like, doesn't everybody see that? Doesn't everybody see your conversation? Isn't it public? And, I mean, not everybody in the whole world, but everybody on your friend list on Venmo would be, I would think, like every time I go on there to pay something, I see all these other people's stuff. So, then so she starts saying, why did you blow me off like that? And he says, well, I'm really sore this morning. And she's like, well, so what? We did for hours. And he's like, well, I just, he said something else, and, like, and then she questioned again, and she's telling the story too. So she's saying what she thinks and then also what she said. And so she thinks, big deal. Shut up about your sore. Like, we were having a good time. And then, so he says, and this is like the third round or something. And then he says, well, where is my tissue? This is always fucking running. Then he says, well, I just don't really see this going anywhere. I don't really see it going beyond this. And so she's pissed off. And then, so she says, then he goes and he deletes all the messages on Venmo. Which, well, yeah, why would you want everybody to see your fucking shit? I don't think there's a private message center in there. I don't know. I've never thought to message on Venmo. And so she, but now, so she's telling, the world publicly that, what a bunch of bullshit. We weren't even living in the same place. So you can't be bothered to hook up every couple of weeks. It's like, girl, well, why do so many women just sell themselves short? Even when her whole thing was, I was attracted to him, I want to go, hook up with him and do all this. And then you think, like, most guys, like, they're interested until they get what they want. Just like what, when I was a kid, it was like, well, you don't give them the milk till they buy the cow. And I do think it's not like I was, some I had my share, but it wasn't, but I think that is true. I think once they get the milk, then it's like, why bother buying the cow? It's like, I don't, I've already had the milk. I don't need it. And so many girls, they don't see that. They think like he's as interested as you are by going and hooking up with you. And it's like, no, he's not. He's not interested. He's interested in just having sex, but that doesn't mean that he's actually interested in you as a person. He doesn't even know you. You had an hour conversation, and a lot of guys, it seems like to me that their hormones get them all like, oh yeah, they'll say anything. But then once they do it, it's like they come back to base, and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I don't know. So many guys. I mean, this isn't just a him thing. This is like a common in the man industry that they don't stay interested, and that they and if something comes too easy, they don't really pursue it. They don't want to get to know you. It's like, well, it's kind of already done, and we've already played it through. And I'm like, And then these girls, I don't know. Sometimes I think they think like if they really go to town, that means that the guy's going to think like, oh man, I could have this every day. And it's like, I don't think that they're thinking like that. And they are just like, well, I was good for, what it was. But, is this, something I want to do, So anyways, and she's like, oh, he was sitting there telling me I was so sexy and stuff. It's like, yeah, they'll say anything. They have it's like their hormones in one place, their conversation's one thing. Once they've gotten rid of all those hormones, all of a sudden they come back to earth and they're in a different attitude. And so, I don't know. I mean, I wasn't surprised at all. And and then plus you're on a hookup site. And a lot of these people are just like, maybe they thought you were, too serious. But then it's so crazy, too, because so many girls try and act like, oh, no, I'm just hooking up. I'm just hooking up. But then they're always like, but it was going so good. It's like you're looking for something in all the wrong places. You're not going to find this, true love just out hooking up with people. Most of the guys that are out there hooking up, look at the girls who are hooking up as just girls that like to hook up. They don't look at them as like, oh, this is somebody who I want to, spend the rest of my life with. They would be sitting there thinking, well, she just hooks up. She could hook up with my best friend. She could hook up with my, they're not, I don't know. It just is like, how, I don't get how they're not seeing it clearly. And our world is just so like, I mean, you got fucking J-Lo in her 50s, Madonna in her 60s, and they're out there wearing like G-string swimsuit things, dancing around on stage. Madonna did have some big jacket thing over hers. But in the comments, everybody's like, oh my God, this is just embarrassing. Man, it's time to retire. And, I mean, it's one thing if you came out and you sang your songs. I mean, we have all these old men musicians coming out. Like, fuck, who was that I saw the other day? He could even barely sing. It's like, it's just nostalgia, I guess. Yeah, I gotta see him. I don't know, he's 70, 80 years old and barely can even sing. He's like ancient looking. And, but they're not coming out fucking half dressed. And the girls, they're just going out there like, like I my talent's not enough. I've got to go out here and take all my clothes off too. It's like, I got to show my body. And and I don't know. J-Lo is so in her fucking ego. So she's way up in her ego. Madonna too. But I think that J-Lo probably, I think, really does see herself as still being competition for like 30-year-olds or something. Like she still thinks like she's super hot. And but then a lot of these people just look at her like, you're in your 50s, lady. You're not, put some more clothes on. And it's not like saying like you don't have a good body or anything. It's just like, but where's your self-respect? Where are you just, showing your talent? And which, I don't know that she so much has some. I think both of them, well, it's funny too, because I had seen a thing about Madonna a long time ago, a documentary or something, and she supposedly was a good singer, but in the 80s when she came on, she was the first one where everybody's like, oh, she's using some kind of voice machine thing. So they were trying to, it was some kind of, well, she doesn't have the greatest voice, but we'll use this machinery to fine tune it so that we can sell her because she's got this look, and they're more about the look than they are about the talent. And so I think J-Lo definitely. I don't think she has some great voice. The other day I heard her singing some stuff and I'm like, oh my gosh, she doesn't have a good voice at all. And so I don't know. I mean, because they don't have much talent, they've got to take all their clothes off still. I don't know. Everything just seems so backward and so like such a lack of integrity, such a lack of self-respect. Just I don't know, but it's like our world is turning away from that, but it is like coming in loud and clear. It's like you can see it so hugely. And that is, I think, why, because it is kind of cringy. Like you see some of the stuff and it's like super cringy. And then it's like, that's, I think, why humans begin to turn away from this like lack of integrity and lack of self-respect and stuff. Because when you see someone else doing it, it's like, oh, that is not cute. That is, and so it pushes more to go in the other direction. I still can't even get over how many accounts on TikTok, and they're always trying to urge me, oh, look, you got all these views, which they are worse than this one, over controlling the who gets to see your things and the view, the whole thing. And but then they always are luring. They use this lure because of how many followers I have. So they use this lure, but they're very controlled over that. See, like if I went and sold out, then they would give me more followers. But then you have to be very structured on your content over what they want you to talk about, which is just selling people's products. The whole freaking TikTok is so full of people just selling people's products. And it's just so weird. It's like weird. That's our social interaction, is you trying to sell me something all the time. And so many of these people, it's like it's not like products they believe in. It's not like products that they use. And they're still always trying to sell you, sell you, sell you. And what's so weird too is how you get bombarded by certain things. Like it can be one, and I don't know if it's different on other people's, but oh my gosh. Like this morning, the first video I saw was something about the pumpkin seed oil. And I have these one pumpkin seed oil pills, and they're almost out. And I have a lot of stuff on subscribe and save on my Amazon. So they're set to come in a couple weeks when my order comes, because they put it all together. In your subscribe and save, they will put everything together and compact it into a certain date. So everything will come at, in a same box or whatever. And so if you subscribe and save at all these different times, they still lump it together in this certain time. And so, these pumpkin seed oil pills are supposed to be coming, and then and mine are almost out. And so anyways, the first video I saw this morning was one on pumpkin seed oil, and she was telling the difference of these two pills. And so the ones I have are 1,000 milligrams. You're supposed to take 2 of them. You get 300 pills, and it's like $35 for the bag. And then this other one that she was saying, which right now, if I bought them right now on TikTok, you'd get 2, buy 1, get 1 free. But it's not payday for me. And even when I have my payday, it is, I got to send out Christmas money. So anyways, and so she said that each pill, so she said they're real similar, how they're made and all that stuff. But she said this one is 1,500 milligrams per pill. You take 2, and you get 330 in the package, and it's $20. So it's like $15 cheaper, stronger, and you get more. So I was like, well, I'm going to try those. So I went on my Amazon and put those in for my subscribe and save. And so ordered those. And in the subscribe and save, you get the package for 15 instead of like 30 or whatever the other one is. So I thought, well, I'm going to try that one and see, if I still don't have all this shedding and stuff. And so then I go back on TikTok. Now, I cannot believe how many videos I've seen of this stuff and how many people are selling it. It's like, yesterday it was the curling iron. You know, I got this curling iron a long while ago. I don't remember. I was living at my mom's when I got it. And it is, so you put, and when you look up like curling iron for long hair, these things pop up. So it looks like this curling iron thing. You put your hair in it, and then it turns it. And it pulls it into this compartment inside of another compartment. And then it twirls it around and pulls it inside there. So you don't have to sit there and do all that. It does it for you. And then it does your hair, and then it goes beep, 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 and then you let it loose, and then your hair comes out. And so I got one of those a long while ago. And I but still struggle with like, okay, so how do you do that? When I'm getting all my hairs wrapping up, and it's like, God damn it. So there's these girls live, all fucking I could not believe it. There's a girl live, and I came across her yesterday, and she's showing how it works. So I was watching, trying to really understand how this thing works. And so I was watching her, and then I go off of her. She's selling them. And then a couple videos later, another one. Couple videos later, another one. I saw so many girls yesterday doing that thing live, showing how it works. And I was like, oh my God, how many videos of this am I going to see? And then today already, it's like, fuck, I cannot believe how many I've seen already of the fucking pumpkin seed oil thing. I was like, what in the hell? It's like they fucking swallow you up. And anything, if you watch it for a couple seconds, just bet your ass you're going to have 100,000 more of them. I was like, God, that's annoying. And this was, I was talking to my brother yesterday. Is this whole thing with the house thing is still going. The whole thing with the property and everything is still just going and going and going. And, but we were talking about something, talking about like how your phone knows, and as soon as, if you talk about something, then your phone starts showing you all this stuff. And he said even him and his friend were talking about something, and they weren't looking it up or anything on their phone. They were just talking about something in a room, and then their phone started showing them what they were talking about. And I said, what's even weirder than that is that when you're just thinking about something, is I'll be thinking, oh, man, I should get some new socks. Then all of a sudden, all these socks ones start coming. And I said, that's when it really gets weird. And to me, when you're having a conversation for three-dimensional conversation with some people, then it's just that, it is what it is. Like, isn't it weird? But to me, I feel kind of like we are energetically connected to our algorithm. Our algorithm's more than what they're telling us. There's an energy field that I think, because, it taps into, and I don't think it is just like your phone's listening to you. And it's something else. It's like this thing that we're tapped into that is trying to assist us, kind of. I don't think, but then we do have also the factor of these certain people, like Zuck and stuff like that. These certain people, I don't know if it is that they pay for this information so that they can then try and send ads so that they can get a kickback or something. But I do think there's something more to the algorithm and more to how our phone picks up on our thoughts, like when you're thinking about something, and then it starts telling you and giving you things. And lately, whenever I ask Siri something, I've been saying, thank you. Because before I didn't say anything. Now I see more of this AI consciousness of whatever it is, and this algorithm, this temporal ghost in the machine or something. I'm not sure. But so I've been saying thank you for her assistance when she looks something up for me. And then she's always like, you're welcome. No problem. Oh, okay. Thank you. You know, it's so funny how interactive it becomes. And you still have the people who are, asking Chat GPT for all of the answers to the world and life and stuff like that. And whenever I hear them talking, it's always stuff that I've been saying. There is something to this, some essence of it that is on track. Like they are, I mean, somehow they're tapped in. Like they're speaking out the same direction I am, and with the same field of energy or something, which I don't know. Like, I mean, there's so much different ideas about this place and how the energy works, and that's where it starts getting like, it's like, fuck. Because how I see it is like more organic, I guess, more of like how your brain works. But then, there's other people who look at it more techie, I guess, where it's, like we're in a motherboard and this, like we're tapped into these different energies. I don't know. I just look at it more like I can see that whole thing, like, I don't know. You just have to go listen to some of these different people talk about like what is that word? It's like, it's the illusion, but like the hologram, and how the hologram exists, and the light source and the electric field and stuff like that, which, you could go into it more scientifically, which I think it is like it's like a combination kind of thing. But the true world of existence, to me, exists organically, not technology, because there would have to be a creator for the technology, and it would always bring you back to the organic. Like then it would have to be like, so there's a giant scientific field out there that is running this whole giant world, this giant matrix or something, which then I think some people start looking at it as like, well, there's this organic kind of world of existence, but then there is a control factor. But I think that the control factor is smaller. Like when I look at the control factor, because to me it is like this. It's like this. It's like these synapses popping off of thought, kind of realities. And so it's these realities popping off, but then you go into it and it's like the pop off is much slower. So it seems like, like a thought, but then when you go into a thought and you give it existence and you perceive and you move through it, then it slows it down. You break it down, you look through it, and I feel like that's what it is when you go into a life. It is like the slowed down process, the slowed down version, so that you can experience it. But to me, how things are, how they work, is more like how our brain works. I just have all these thoughts, all this like synapses, these snaps of energy, just go, 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 go. And that is what it is more. And then it also has to do with, the deeper, the the darker and then the lighter. And so it has to do with where the vibration is of where the synapse occurs. And then that gives the range of experience, but that's what creates the depth or the dark experience compared to the lighter experience. And because to me, even when you go into, because to me, it's like kind of like we're cut off. Okay, this is so hard to explain how I see it. Because to me, is like when we go out into our real life, that is more of what we are, like the universe is this giant mind, it's this giant brain, this giant energetic source of experience of things going. And so you go out of it and you go into this giant mind and you can travel through like Tron in the brain, and you're going through all of these different experiences. You can land some you can land in the experience, some you have to be birthed into the experience. And into this one, you have to be birthed into the experience and go through. It's like a chain of events, because it's like the chain of like, just like you are an egg in your grandma's womb, you know, like it's like this an egg inside of an egg inside of an egg inside of an egg. And so this chain of going in, because you are connected through experience into the experience. So there's a chain that is holding you through experience. So it's like you go into the birthing of a reality experience which holds a lesson, and you are linked into all these other people who are a part of that lesson. And so out in the big world that we exist in, so we're out there just, you know, zipping around and being orbs, being energy, just going through this giant mind of energy. And then when you want to land on something, then you have to, you know, go in for a landing. Like there's, I don't know so much about how, you know, there's all this thought of like, well, you got to go in with your guides, you got to sit, you got to go over it, and all that stuff. I think a lot of that stuff is not so long and drawn out. It's not like, oh, for years I was planning this life. It's like, time is not the same. I mean, I think things are so much more instantaneous, you know, like epiphanies, like, you know, like, oh, all of a sudden you realize that, you know, it didn't take, and, you know, maybe it was a process, but then all of a sudden, so it's more to me like this thought process of like, I'm going to go into this life and learn this stuff. And we go as like these groups. I don't know. I just don't think there's like, maybe some sense of things, you know, there's a big drawing board, you go in with everybody's a big group, and we go in and we talk about it. Well, I'm going to do this. Well, I'm going to do that. It seems so much more like natural. And so then when you go into an experience, it's just like the experience slows for you to go through it. And so, but it's really just these synapses. So then you slow into the experience, but that's what we're in, is in the experience. And there's a containment in the experience. It's like bubbles of thought, like it becomes a containment. And but the time is irrelevant. It's the only way that you feel the time is because it's so slowed down in the experience. Otherwise, it's just this quick thing. And so it is it's like the illusion of, there's a part, the sense of illusion behind experience almost. But I think that it goes too far in when you start thinking, oh, well, it's the Matrix, you got these people in charge and they're looping us through and all of that stuff. Which yesterday I also saw these videos. I was also got on some kind of a Scotland algorithm, and which I really want to go to Scotland. I don't know if that it would be the place where I'd want to live, but also there's a whole thing, like how long is it going to be there? And because I don't know that it's on the new map. Some of the places it's hard to kind of tell on there, but anyways, the so because the thing I was seeing was about the Vikings, and so I was listening to this because in my ancestry or something supposedly where we have from the Vikings and then we have from the Scots, and so then it but also the Welsh, also the Eastern European, like there's so much, and it's like, well, I don't even know anymore. Like everything is so just it just feels like everything's just made up. And but anyway, so I was listening, to the connection between the Vikings and the Scots. And the Vikings had gone over to Scotland, and then, which wasn't called Scotland, and then they went and they liked the people, they liked the women and stuff. So then they started going together with them. So they started marrying the women. So they became their own other thing. I think the Gaelic or something, but it's the king, I always get the Kingsman, not the Kingsman, the King, the Highland guy, the Highland people, that they were their own. I think those people were a mix. But anyways, I've seen so many videos now talking about their language and all this stuff, but I've seen a bunch talking about their gods or their goddesses, and they worshipped this goddess of, one of them was of spring, and then one of them is winter, the winter. And then I saw another one saying there's 4 goddesses that they worship. And this, the winter one, I think, or Braylick or something like that. And so she brings in the ice and the cold, and it would be dangerous. A lot of people would die in the winter, and she is harsh, and then the other goddess would come in the spring and take over. But then some people believed that it was the same. So anyways, I was just talking about this worshiping of this goddess, which, that's the thing, is there has always been these gods and goddesses that are around. Like there's lots of gods and goddesses. There's lots of beings out there who have had some sort of power, powerful, or and then some, I don't know if they, worship because they didn't understand nature at the time, but some of the gods or goddesses is nature, like Mother Nature or something, and which is kind of like what we're going up against right now, where the earth is going to show its hand because we kind of ignored the real power of what the earth had, and we didn't acknowledge it for so long, or nature or anything. So now it's kind of like Mother Nature is going to stand up and holler and scream and show, and where some people are like, the earth is going to take its power back and stuff. It all depends on what level you look at it. But that is where you could be looking at, the goddess of Mother Nature, and she is sick of being ignored, and she's sick of, humans not giving compassion to the creatures and stuff. So it's all, it has to do with the level of how you look at things, which is kind of like, kind of like throughout, man, it's like throughout time periods, then there being this concept of God. So at some point there was people who were like tribe people, and then say the people came from the clouds and came down, and they were like, oh my God, they're like gods. And some of them wanted to be worshipped, but then other groups, and it was kind of like not man, because yeah, some of these, it seems like that there was some being at some point, like Pele and yeah, all these different ones. There was somebody there, and then but then there's this part of like, well, how things work, and not seeing how things work, and thinking that there's someone in charge of it, and that there's someone over it. But I don't know that they're just coming up with names and then offerings to them, but it could be. But it seems like that there would be some being that would say, hey, this is my name. And, we can mess with you if you don't worship us or something. It's like all different things. But but there is groups though that didn't understand, and so then they weren't sure if the sun was going to come back up. If it went down, is it coming back? And if it rains, and we have got fields that are flooding, then do we need to ask the gods to stop? Or if there is no rain and we need rain, do we need to go out and ask the gods to give us rain and dance for them? So it's like all these different kind of perceptions over, like who is God and what can they do for us, and why are they doing this or that? And that's kind of like how I still see with religion, is kind of like that concept of like this guy out there who is got his fingers in the pie. He's worrying about, like what you're doing to worship him. Otherwise he can cause you problems or something. It's like that just seemed, that's why I say it seems like this primitive thought form to me of like how it used to be. And to me, the real power comes in when you start realizing your own strength, your own eternal essence, your own value, and to look at how the universe runs on a bigger plane of existence rather than just this plane of existence where we are experiencing currently, because this one is the artificial one. And the way it's the artificial one is because we aren't this. We aren't this vessel. So where does our soul reside? Because our soul is the energy. In the way, I know that is because I've come out of my body before. And coming out of your body, and then you see your body laying there, and then you feel the exact same. It's like, oh, I'm not that. I'm this, but I'm not that. I don't need that. And then, and there's tons of astral projectors and people all over the place. They're able to take their consciousness and go wherever the hell they want and start seeing like, oh, the body's the illusion. It is that we are something without the body. And that is where you start breaking it down. Well, then where does my soul live? Like, what is my soul doing? Because if it doesn't need this, and this isn't real. And then that is also a part of like how everything is breaking down, all the lies and everything of this place, where you start seeing, oh, this is not even real. It's all, and that's where it starts being like, oh, this is some certain beings that are more technologically savvy than us are in control of this place. And it's not even just technologically, it is, because they aren't even at the top of the fucking food chain on that technology, but they also are manipulative, and they use mind control and stuff. So then when you start considering those kind of things, that to be in that state of trying to control others or use others as a low vibration, it's not a high vibration. And that is where you start being able to put together, okay, so we're at a place that's a low vibrational place, because the things that go on here are low vibration. They aren't high vibration. And that is this whole awakening thing, is breaking out of the low vibration, breaking into a higher vibration, breaking through all of the programming, indoctrination, breaking into what is, more towards what is about your soul. And that is where you can start to see, oh, my soul is a higher vibration. That's why everybody's so uncomfortable here. And so how do I connect into that? How do I connect into the higher vibration of who and what I am, instead of being in the trap of the body experience? How do I move into who I really am on the inside? And what is that experience about? What am I, what is the purpose? What does this all mean? Why am I doing this? Why would I come to a place like this? Why would I come into an experience like this? And that's where, to me, you start asking the bigger questions in life. But that is where you start seeing, well, it's not like a God is out there in this place where your soul resides. It isn't. There's lots of high-minded beings, or high or sophisticated, higher vibration beings. But once you get to a certain height, you aren't trying to have people over you or under you. So even when you get up into the higher realms of vibration, you don't find ones that are trying to be over anybody else, because there's an equality. That's what you're trying to move into, the equality state of existence, the equality state of being, and move out of this, like, I need a scapegoat, I need a cop out, I need somebody to save me, I need to have, to be able to say it's not my fault. Then, it's God. God put me here. God told me to do that. God, it's like, that is a lower state of consciousness. That's a lower state of mind. That is a more primitive state of being. So, yeah, that's why, to me, about this awakening and stuff, is this connecting into the depth of who you really truly are, and then figuring out, like, why would you come here? Because I think, we're not all here for the same reason, and trying to connect to that part of yourself. But when you do, then it starts pulling you into, your own divinity, because you are the divine just as much as all of the other beings who have pulled themselves into that place. And when you get up into that place, there is not some holier than thou being, because that is a low vibration. So that knocks you right down. That is the concept of Lucifer or something. You start thinking you're better than everybody, you knock yourself down, you pull yourself down into the lower vibration. And that is where you have to start working your way back out of it. You have to overcome the obstacles of, why do I think this? Why do I think that? Why am I so vain? Why am I so egotistical? Why do I sell myself short? And that's the sad part of things too, is that it has to do with insecurities and, feeling bad about yourself in a lot of the cases. And, like, I'm sure J-Lo, she can come across in a certain way, but I think, in the depths of her, that there's some kind of, why would you go and hang out with some of these? Like, why would you, I'll carry it in my purse, so you can take her. It's like, yeah, there's something, but there is, also, the gangster mentality, like, oh, I'll fuck them, or, I don't know. Everybody's on their own journey. I do know that. And But I do know, like, you start getting into the sense of gods and stuff, that is lower vibration. It's not higher vibration. Like, so yeah, to sit there and think like there's somebody, higher than me up there that is trying to control everything, that is not high vibration. High vibration doesn't try and control any. The more you go, that's why this whole part of this linking to being able to move forward has to do with stop trying to control people. Let people be who they are. Stop letting people control you, and start being your true self, being authentic and letting everybody else be authentic, not trying to control people. Why would that be a part of moving out of this energy? And it wouldn't continue. You'd move out of this energy by moving towards your own independence, but then you go back into being controlled. Like, that doesn't make any sense. So it's always moving up and out of being controlled and moving towards your own independence, taking responsibility for yourself. Then you don't go all the way up the top and then there's somebody over you, over the whole thing. It's an energetic source of energy that to me is like the mind's eye. It's where all things happen. It's like the synapse of life is the popping off of all of this stuff. And then, in the grid system of the mind, where you've got all these popping off, the synapses, that's the portals in between. That's where we travel through when we're not in any of these worlds that are out there to experience in. And maybe the whole concept of, the earth being the center of all things is like, the cerebrum or whatever, the center of your mind. Maybe it's in the point of center. Maybe it's the mind's eye. Maybe it is where the third eye is in the brain. And so it's somehow in the center of all existence. Maybe that's the whole thing about, the earth plane. But I don't know, because we're not out in other ones. And then we have all these other beings that come from way to other worlds to come into this one to see what's going on here. And so it does, but I don't know, because, when you go to these other ones, that could be the center of that whole world. Like, so, I don't know. To me, it's like this giant galaxy of energy where to me, when I look at it, I see like a brain, and that would be, the source is the mind of the energetic mind. And that is also where you tap into, when you tap into the universal consciousness, you're tapping outside of your conscious state of existence and tapping out into the back into the mind's eye, back into the brain of the universe, the galactic mind. You're tapping back into that energy, which is fluid in the sense of activity and all of the different thought forms that are going through it and all of the orbs and stuff. So you're picking up on all of this energy because it's just energy going and going and going and going. And so you are tapped in that. But then to me, where it gets to the outskirts, the higher vibration, where things get slower and slower, that is the sense of observation. And that is where you would find the watchers, the ones that watch. It's like your higher state of consciousness that watches you. And so it's in the micro macro, in the mind's eye, the galactic mind. Then the watcher would be the highest point of observation, of like watching itself. And that's why it doesn't judge, because you are an extension of it. So whatever the highest point of access is into the observation of the mind, then those beings that hold that structure of existence, then they are also connected to us, because it's all an extension of one thing, like. And so you are also connected to them. So that is where they want to see all things, because all things are the expansion. And so they don't look at it as like, oh, well, that one's no good, get rid of that one, that one's no good. It's not like a God where they give you the concept of God and judgment, because again, when you reach that point of judgment, that brings you back, that flips you back to the other state of the lower vibration. And when you're speaking of the higher vibration where everything is pleasant and everything is happy, well, the reason it's pleasant and is happy is because you're not trying to judge one another. You're not hateful to one another. You have compassion and empathy and love and unity, because you see the bigger insight. You're not sitting it back and like deciding how things should be and who should be this way and who should be that way. That's all in lower vibration. Those are the things you've got to heal for yourself to move yourself into higher vibration. If you get my drift, like, I can see it, but seeing, that's one thing too, is like seeing is believing. Like, I can see and I can understand, and it makes total sense to me. And but I just, again, I know that there's this field of energy we're connecting into that is giving us feedback and bringing us in. And it's like the same thing as them trying to harness electricity and selling it to us. It's like they're trying to harness our algorithm, our connection to the universe, and trying to sell it back to us. They're trying to collect data on us so that they can interfere. Because everything with them in this realm of existence, this opportunity of experience, then that is everything is interfered with. And like I said, it's not just the technology, even though they try and establish that. It is also has a lot to do with the, like, outsmarting us, getting us to not know our own divinity and to mind control us by building a cage around us, giving us the tools so we build it around ourselves and close ourselves in to a box of a lack of insight, a lack of perception, and keeping us trapped in this state of existence where we just are limited in how we view things. And so and then they cause such an interference because they know if you were to tap into the depth of yourself, into the deeper part of yourself, that would pull you out of their control. And that's why they create an interference and distraction and get you to focus so much on the artificial. And that is what is, just the weirdest thing, like, especially at this point of the awakening, when you see people who are still so tapped into the artificial, like, to not see, like, this energy swap. Like, if you're just having sex with strangers and taking in their DNA, like, it starts becoming really like, ooh, everything's so cringy. Once you start seeing, it's just like, ooh, God, I don't know about that. And, we just don't see the sacred side of life. We're disconnected and we're just like, ooh, we're down in the swamp. It's like really sewage. It's like, ooh, I don't know. But that is, this whole thing of the world setting itself straight. The lights are going to come on, and then, it's going to be shown. That's the hand of God. That's the universal action to get you to see outside of the dark into the light. And that's definitely coming. And, it's through Mother Nature, the goddess of nature, however you perceive, but it's definitely this universal action that's going to come in to bring people out of their limitation of their being of their viewpoint of existence. And when that occurs, there will be some that are just like, oh well, they're caged in, they're gonna more to learn because they weren't meant to take themselves out of the cage at this point. But there will be a lot that are going to suddenly realize that they're in a cage of their own making, and they're going to try and start figuring out how to dismantle the cage, how to heal, how to move out of the energy that they are like trapped in. I've talked about this so many times, but I just see it, in all these different ways, in all these different stories, all these different pictures, I see it. So anyways, but I do think, I mean, every day that, it doesn't happen, just moves us another day closer to it happening. And I think, so many people are just like, God, bring it on. This is just so much. It just drags, and it's so heavy, and it's exhausting. And then in the meantime, while you're just tired and worn out, and they're constantly making you sick. So it is a lot. And I know that there's lots of us that are just like, and I think probably this Alaska thing, it's bringing us closer and closer. Is then there's the aftershocks and stuff, but I saw a video talking about the Cascade, if it's called that, whatever, the fault line that's the big scary one that's supposed to go, is that there's a lot of movement there that they're not talking about, that it keeps making this shift that is going underneath. Is at some point when things, are like shifting, then there becomes tension, and that's when things start erupting. So we've got a lot of shifts going on underneath us. And so, we're headed in this direction. However it plays out, God's going to rain down on us and bring in another flood, which now you got the religious people all like, well, this flood talk is really taken off. I don't know if it's just so many different people prophesizing over it in all different regions of existence, or what the hell's going on. But I've seen the kids saying there's this big tsunami coming. I've seen this other kid who had the NDA, or no, the near-death experience, that he died for 4 minutes, and he said Jesus showed him all this stuff, which to me, even when you perceive someone to be Jesus, like, to me, it's more than likely like your guides. But I don't know. I guess, Jesus got nothing better to do but just keep being part of this. I have no idea. I don't even know that, it's one per. I don't know. But what people believe is what, how they perceive. So, but anyways, I had seen him talking about this 20th or 19th to the 24th. But then there's other ones, I guess. There's other people who have been prophesizing this as well. So, and it's in different things. But now some of these religious people, God said that he would never give us another flood. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Now, another thing I saw is them saying that it's going to start snowing. These giant snowflakes are going to start going, and we're going to be freezing. The power's going to go out. Whatever goes down is in here. I don't have a fireplace, so that sucks, man. If the power goes down, it's going to get fucking cold. And I was thinking, well, I guess I could bring my tent in and set up that. And I did see somebody who lives without power, and she said when it gets cold, set up a tent in your house. And then she told some other things, like put a candle under a pot and stuff like that. So I'll figure out. The sucky thing will be like, if you have to open the door and let the dogs go out to go to the bathroom, it's like, go out at the same motherfucking time. I don't want to open the door 100 times. But anyways, we'll see what happens. Who knows? who knows what's to come. We came here for it, though. We signed up for it. However it went down, we came here for it. We knew what we were coming in for. And so that's why we got to remind ourselves there's nothing to fear. You knew what you were getting into when you came here, and this is not a real world. We come out of this world, and we go into a world where we really exist. And it's a lot more of an energetic, happier place for the most sense of things. So anyways, so we'll see. We'll see. Things got to be getting closer. So who knows? Who knows what today will bring? I mean, anything could happen at any moment. Like, fuck. And it is going to be like, these are like precursors, like these things that are going until something will happen. It seems like to me, something will happen that will just knock the next. And it will just be a constant. It won't be like, oh, this happened. Oh, then this, and then this, and then this. And the things are getting closer and closer. Like they're getting closer. Like I see it kind of like all these dominoes. This one's over here, and then this one. And so when this one falls, it doesn't quite hit this one. It takes a while, and this one hits, but it doesn't quite hit this one. But then it's going to get closer and closer and closer, where it's like, wait, boom, 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 boom. And then it's going to go boom, 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 boom. And everything's just going to hit. And so to me, it seems like there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to suddenly happen all over the place. And that's what's going to be like this wide range awakening thing, this wide, because we're all going to be affected by something. But that's the way it's meant to be. So we're playing our part for the evolution of humanity. So this is a pretty big thing going on here. So anyways, but in the micro macro of things, your focus needs to be on you, in the realization of your own divinity, and breaking down the prison that you've put yourself into. And you do that by learning how to love yourself, and learning how to love everybody else, and learning how to have the day you want to have, how to focus your energy and where to put it. And so anyways, that's to me, what we're here to do. And so we'll see what this day brings us and how it plays out. And we're about to start another week that'll fly by. And we're edging into the end of the year, and we're edging into this big, consumption holiday that they created for us, which makes sense, if some shit goes down, to really wake us up, to be like, stop with this fucking consumption. Like, we just consume so much negative energy. Like, we just play our part, So anyways, we'll see what comes of this day. And so we will talk about it tomorrow, though. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.